You do not even know our tongue, do you? Such arrogance, to dare take for yourself the name of Dova. Hey, what's going on, peeps? My name is Rex and we're back with some more Elder Scrolls Skyrim. So in the last episode we finished Bleak Falls Barrow, but just to close in on this, because we did miss, I guess, one thing, and there's been some misunderstandings on chat. People don't quite understand how the draugrs work. So I'm just go ahead and quickly, I guess, explain how that works. Just really very basic. The draugrs used to be Nordic people that either used to believe in the dragons or used to oppose the dragons. Now, whether or not they were cursed this way or they're doing it on purpose, we're not really sure. I believe most people believe that they were cursed, but regardless, the thing about them is that they were entombed here alive, and they did that because they wanted to have people that would give life essence to the dragon priest. Now, this is where it gets very crazy. These draugrs have been alive here with this spark of life for thousands of years. This spark of life gets regenerated every single night when they wake up in the morning. So they wake up, this is a normal day for them. They wake up, they clean the barrow, they give essence of life to the priest, then they, defend or whatever it is that they want to do, the barrow, and then they go back to bed and then they replenish this life essence. There's no power in this world that can give them this ability. How much power would you require as a I don't know, man, let's pretend that this was Alduin because we believe it is Alduin. How much power should Alduin require for him to keep thousands of draugrs alive for thousands of years? Like, that amount of power is honestly kind of insane. Like, there's nothing like that in this world. You would have to be a divine or some kind of daedra to be doing this. It's kind of crazy, but it is what it is, right? That's what they do. They wake up every morning, they give life to the priest to keep him, looking good, I guess, and then they go back to bed. It's kind of a weird thing. If you want to know more about it, go ahead and check out my dragon priest lore video. I think I have 2 of those. I do some people were talking about that on chat, that it's a lot more formal. If you want to kind of learn more about it, then it's there. Another thing that I missed here, not necessarily missed because I can't really do it, but there is actually another character here in this barrow, a character called Thomas. Is a bandit that wanted to prove to his brethren that he was a cool dude. he wanted to fight a frost troll here in the barrow, but he ended up dying, and you cannot actually see him just yet. He's if you guys remember, we fought a skeleton by a waterfall. If you're high level enough, instead of a skeleton, you will have a frost troll. That frost troll is part of a quest, and we don't really have to do it. It really doesn't lead to anything. It's just like an extra thing, but I do find it very interesting that there's a couple of extra things in this dungeon that only appear if you're higher level, and we'll talk about one in just a bit. But because it's interesting, because you do get to do this dungeon very early on, so I would imagine it would be very rare for people to come back here after finishing the quest. I don't know. This is one of those things, I suppose, but the other thing that I want to talk about is a dragon. If you're higher level enough and you have completed Dragon's Rising, which is the quest where you get to fight the dragon in the tower and you get to explore, being a dragonborn and, by absorbing the soul of the dragon. If you finish that quest, then dragons can actually attack you randomly outside. And if you have done that, when you come out of this dungeon, you actually get to fight a dragon here. That dragon, it's funny because it's another one of those creatures that I guess would only appear if you come here later, which I guess would be very unlikely. But it's also pretty interesting because on the creation kit of Skyrim, that dragon actually has a very specific tooltip to it. It's like a special dragon. It's not just a generic dragon that just appears. It's kind of a special kind of dragon, I suppose. So there's been a lot of talk about maybe there was a quest related to that dragon that they had to remove, which I do find very interesting. But anyways, boys, welcome to the world of Skyrim once more. Today we're just gonna go ahead and go to Riverwood. We have to deliver the quest for the Golden Claw. We'll deliver that and then we'll head over to Whiterun and we'll get to experience some of the I guess more normal looking land here in Skyrim, because most of what we have explored here has really just been some of the more specific Skyrim pieces of land, like the mountain regions, some of the colder forests, and obviously the barrows. We'll actually get to experience some plains, which is something that I guess is more akin to Cyrodiil, which I thought it was kind of cool. But we'll get to that in just a second.
Show those thieves not to steal from Luke and Valerius.
I have the claw.
You found it. There it is. Strange. It seems smaller than I remember. Funny thing, huh? I'm gonna put this back where it belongs. I'll never forget this. You've done a great thing for me and my sister.
Sounds good, buddy. I do want to buy some potions from this guy. We get a lot of gold actually for this quest, which is great. Let's go ahead and buy some potions. That's it.
Lucky for you, that was just sitting there for the taking.
Yeah, just sitting there. Flashbacks of me killing hundreds of demons and bandits. Anyways, let's head over and start walking, I suppose. So, I guess just like the first episode, welcome to the beautiful and savage land of Skyrim. Some people have been, I guess, kind of skeptical at what I said before when I said that Skyrim is the least populated province in all of Tamriel, and it's one of those things where like we don't really have a census for every single province. I mean, the only reason we know that is because of official, guides and official descriptions of, all the provinces given by Bethesda themselves. We do know that Skyrim is the least populated land. When you really think about it, though, it does make sense. I mean, how many extensions have there been in Skyrim? Think about it, right? So, this land used to be populated by the Snow Elves. The Nords came. They got completely obliterated. I mean, extinct, literally, by the Snow Elves. Then they came back, made the Snow Elves extinct themselves. Then the Snow Elves, I guess, ran towards the Dwarves. Got pretty much extinct again. The Dwarves themselves got extinct. Like, everyone just gets extinct here, I suppose. Then there was the Dragon Wars. A lot of Nords were lost in that war. The dragons themselves were obliterated. Everyone that believed in the dragons and fought for the dragons, like all those Nords, also died. And not even talking about the Oblivion Crisis, which we don't really know much about what happened to Skyrim back then, and the Civil War. There's been so much shit happening in this country. It's not crazy to believe that there may just not be that many people here. I mean, also not even talking about the fact that it's a very cold climate. Who lives here? Who would come here to live? I don't know. It's one of those things. But yeah, there's really not much to talk about as far as like the fauna and the flora with this place. I mean, we do know that not much really grows up in here. We got some Imperials.
If you know any true sons and daughters of Skyrim, tell them to head to Windhelm. Ulfric Stormcloak wants to see them.
He just told me about that in front of the Imperials. Like, man, that's some flagellation's gonna happen to that guy. I'm still undecided which side I'm gonna take. I'll probably leave that up to you guys to vote. But the one very interesting thing to talk about here in Skyrim is probably the Nordic mead, which is something very, very specific to Skyrim itself. You see, the Nordic mead is something that is only really found in Skyrim. If you play Morrowind, so you can actually get to Solstheim in Morrowind, and in Solstheim, if you go there, you can actually find the mead, and obviously in Skyrim you find it a lot, but if you play Oblivion, it's very, very rare. The reason for that are twofold. See, to ferment the mead, you actually need to do it in cold climates, so only Skyrim and maybe like the most northern sections of Morrowind, so Solstheim and High Rock can actually do it. It's very, very, very rare, but the second most important reason for that is because it's actually banned, and not many people know this. The Nordic mead is actually banned everywhere on the Empire. You're not allowed to drink it, you're not allowed to sell it. It's that hardcore. I don't really know why that is the case. All we really know is that nobody really likes the mead, only the Nords like it. It's apparently the taste is just not that very good. The mead is, I mean, if you don't know, mead is made out of fermented honey in real life. It's very powerful. You can make it reach about 20% alcoholic content. So they're fighting the trolls. Or is that, yeah, they're fighting the trolls over, the giant, I mean, over here. But yeah, so it can be pretty powerful, because it's supposed to be drank like a beer, you know, you just fucking go to a bar and just drink it. And having one of those be 20% alcoholic content, it's kind of hardcore, so it's very, very powerful. It's supposed to have a mint taste, according to you know, the Nordic mead and whatever else. It's probably one of the most interesting aspects of Skyrim and its culture, just that mead specifically. Giants, on the other hand, are probably even more interesting, because there's a lot of the giants that we don't necessarily know, that we only really find in books. The giants came from Admora just like the Nords did. And some transcripts actually do say that we, humans, come from the giants themselves, that we used to be as big as they are. Let's go ahead and wait until they talk to me, and then we'll continue talking about the giants.
You handle yourself well. You could make for a decent shield, brother.
What is a shield brother?
An outsider, eh? Never heard of the Companions? An order of warriors. We are brothers and sisters in honor. And we show up to solve problems if the coin is good enough.
Can I join you?
Not for me to say. You'll have to talk to Kodlak Whitemane up in Jorvaskar. The old man's got a good sense for people. He can look in your eyes and tell your worth. If you go to him, good luck.
There you go. So, there's a couple of interesting things about the giants. I mean, we do know that they herd the mammoths. We know that they make cheese out of the milk of the mammoth. We know that they also eat skeever and horses, primordially. Sometimes when you go into their camps, you can see skeevers being burned. You can see horses on pikes, so they're preparing them. We know that some of the giants actually have different clothing than others, probably a sign of stature. Some of them have, as you can see, fur, while others have more, I guess, skull-based garments. So it could mean that the other ones are more higher level. I mean, they're all, in the actual game, they're all level 32, of course, but, you know, it could be like some kind of social stature. They all use the same weapon, they all have the same amount of HP, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I mean, there's really not that much to go on with giants. They're very secretive. They don't really fight you unless they have to. You can get close to them up to a certain extent without them attacking you, which is kind of cool. There are no female giants as far as we know. It probably could just be a game limitation, but you don't really get to see any female giants, which is kind of bizarre if you ask me. And yeah, I mean, they do speak. We can't really translate what they say, which brings me up to a question by David Ritchie. He was asking me, can you read the language of dragons, or do you just know that off the top of your head because we read the Dragonstone? No, I cannot just read dragon language from the top of my head. That would be kind of badass. But the way it works with dragon language is, thanks to the fact that some characters in this game, specifically the dragons, whenever they say something, they usually say what they want to say in Dovasul. By the way, from now on, I'll mention dragon language as Dovasul. That's the actual word for it. They speak in Dovasul, and then they speak in English. So they repeat the same thing that they're going to say in the two different languages. So it's kind of like a Rosetta Stone in that sense. Like, we can kind of translate whatever they're saying, and we can learn their language based on those translations. And there's also there's a book, I don't remember the name of the book anymore. It's like Dragon Language Myth or Not or something. I don't remember how it was called, but I guess I could probably look it up here. Help. Myth? Maybe if I look for myth. Mythic Dawn commentaries. The mono... Yeah, there it is. So it's Dragon Language Myth No More. Oh, sorry, I smacked the microphone. That's the name of the book. So in that book, there's a bunch of translations, and then there's also the official guide for Skyrim that also has some translations. So thanks to those translations, we can actually translate some of what the dragons are saying, and specifically some of the language that is written in walls and so on and so forth. So whenever we find something like that... Oh, by the way, I just wanted to show you that the tower is actually destroyed before the dragon attack. So even if you haven't done Dragon Rising or even started it, the place is still destroyed anyway. So I thought it was kind of interesting. That dragon also, we'll talk more about the dragon that attacks this place, because I find that dragon very interesting as well. There's a lot of story to that dragon. But yeah, so whenever we find some Dovahkiin written anywhere, I'll do my best to try and translate it for you guys. To give you guys an example of how it works, the way you translate it is word by word. So for example, Alduin. Alduin is 3 words. All, do, and in. All, do, in. It translates respectively to destroy, devour, master. So you kind of make those word by word translations and you make sense out of it. Sometimes the translations are perfect, sometimes it's not. It's, you know, kind of random that way. Also, the Ogre Lord says, "Hey Rex, can you set your FOB farther out?" He means field of vision. It's kind of hard watching with swords in my face. The problem with that, Ogre Lord, is that, and this is just me assuming because I'm not really sure how everyone plays, I would assume that most people probably play with the default FOB options. People from Xbox, I'm assuming it's the same FOB, people from the PS3, and obviously most people that don't really care too much about changing it usually, I would assume, play in this FOB. So the thing about that, Ogre, is that if I were to change it, I would be pleasing less people than I would be making enemies of. You know, like, for every person that I would be pleasing by changing the FOB, I would be pissing off 3 or 4. I think most people probably play on the default FOB, so I have to keep it this way. I'm sorry, man. Wish I could help you, I really do. But, you know, gotta make sure that everyone is happy. Also, some people were asking me about the mods, because I started talking about the mods and I didn't quite finish that off. I may add some more mods to this playthrough. The thing is, and some people even commented on this, this Let's Play is a game appreciation Let's Play. I want to talk about the game. I want to enjoy the game. I want to... I mean, I guess that probably explains it more. It's a game appreciation Let's Play. Like, I want to play the game as it is and then appreciate it as it is, right? Like, it's... I feel like I'm doing a disservice by changing it. I don't know. I might do some later, but... since we're going to be talking about lore, and we're going to be talking about things like the garments of the guards and how zombies look like in the game, what the developers intended for the game to be, I feel like it makes more sense to leave it as it is.
Halt. City's closed with the dragons about. Official business only.
We're going to do persuade because we get a free level. I have news from Helgen about the dragon attack.
Fine. But we'll be keeping an eye on you.
There we go, we get a free level of speech, so it's always wise to do that. Anyways, guys, welcome to Whiterun, and the first big city that you find in the game is definitely one of my favorite cities. I would probably go so far as to say it's my favorite city. It's, I don't know, it's very homey. It's usually the one I come to. I guess we should probably listen to this guy's talk.
Whatever it takes, but we must have more swords for the Imperial soldiers.
I just can't fill an order that size on my own. Why don't you swallow that stubborn
What's on
pride
your
of
mind?
yours and ask Yorland Greymane for help?
I'd sooner bend my knee to Ulfric's Stormcloak. Besides, Greymane would never make steel for the Legion.
Have it your way. I'll take the job, but don't expect a miracle.
So the city of Whiterun is divided into 3 different districts. Let's go ahead and show you guys the map. Oh boy, I won't be able to show you guys the map unless I fully explore it. This sector here, this district, is called the Plains District. It's called like that because it's obviously closer to the plains. It's the lowest of all the districts and is, you know, closest to the plains outside. It's where most of the vendors and where the market is. Pretty straightforward. This is the Wind District. It's called like that because, well, it's higher up than the plains, and supposedly there's like a lot of gusts of air that come through this district, and it makes it kind of cold, so they called it the Wind District, I suppose. The Mead Hall is considered to be part of the Wind District, and then lastly there's the Clouds District, which is just the Dragon's Reach place. It's supposed to be called the Clouds District because it's, well, the highest of them all, so it's closest to the clouds. There we go. It's the catacombs. We're not gonna go there yet. We'll talk more about the story of Whiterun on the next episode, and we'll talk about the story of Dragon's Reach on the next episode as well. I don't really want to make this video too long. The Mead Hall, I'll talk about that once we start doing the companions. A lot of people were asking me what did we decide on as far as the main story was concerned. We're gonna be doing the Dark Brotherhood first. You guys voted. You guys made your desires be known, so we'll do that first. Oh, there's also a very curious little, I don't want to call that a secret, but it's like a little thing here. It's a skeleton that just happens to be here below the bridge, and he has some gold. It's one of those weird things, I suppose. I don't know, can't really explain that, but that's it. Is there anything else I wanted to cover before we go ahead and talk to Balgruuf? I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered most things. Alright, let's do it.
What did you have me do then? Nothing?
What's the meaning of this interruption? Jarl Balgruuf is not receiving visitors.
I have news from Helgen about the dragon attack.
Well, that explains why the guards let you in. Come on then. The Jarl will want to speak to you personally.
So, you were at Helgen. You saw this dragon with your own eyes?
Aye. I had a great view while the Imperials were trying to cut off my head.
Really? You're certainly forthright about your criminal past. But it's none of my concern who the Imperials want to execute. Especially now. What I want to know is, what exactly happened at Helgen?
The dragon destroyed Helgen, and last I saw it was heading this way.
By Ysmir, Irileth was right. What do you say now, Proventus? Shall we continue to trust in the strength of our walls against the dragon?
My lord, we should send troops to Riverwood at once. It's in the most immediate danger. If that dragon is lurking in the mountains...
It's a provocation. He'll assume we're preparing to join Ulfric's side and attack him. We should not...
Enough! I'll not stand idly by while the dragon burns my hold and slaughters my people. Irileth, send a detachment to Riverwood at once.
Yes, my Jarl.
If you'll excuse me, I'll return to my duties.
That would be best. Well done. You sought me out on your own initiative. You've done Whiterun a service, and I won't forget it. Here, take this as a small token of my esteem. There is another thing you could do for me. Suitable for someone of your particular talents, perhaps. Come, let's go find Farengar, my court wizard. He's been looking into a matter related to these dragons and rumors of dragons.
He's gonna give us a quest to go into Bleak Falls Barrow to obtain the Dragonstone, but since we already got it, we can just pretty much give it to him as soon as he asks for it, which is kind of an interesting thing that you can do. You're kind of sent into the Barrow as soon as you go into Riverwood if you talk to the trader. So it's kind of one of those things, I guess.
Farengar, I think I found someone who can help you with your dragon project. Go ahead and fill him in with all the details.
So the Jarl thinks you can be of use to me. Oh yes, he must be referring to my research into the dragons. Yes, I could use someone to fetch something for me. Well, when I say fetch, I really mean delve into a dangerous ruin in search of an ancient stone tablet that may or may not actually be there.
Alright, where am I going and what am I fetching?
Straight to the point, eh? No need for tedious hows and whys. I like that. Leave those details to your betters, am I right? I, learned of a certain stone tablet said to be housed in Bleak Falls Barrow. A dragon stone, said to contain a map of dragon burial sites. Go to Bleak Falls Barrow, find this tablet, no doubt interred in the main chamber, and bring it to me. Simplicity itself.
Oh, do you mean this old stone?
Ah, the dragon stone of Bleak Falls Barrow. You already found it. You are cut from a different cloth than the usual brutes the Jarl foists on me.
So what about my reward?
You'll have to see the Jarl about that. Maybe his steward Avenici. I'm sure one of them will pay you appropriately.
There you go. We're gonna have to talk to him. He's gonna trigger the Dragon's Rising quest, though.
So, Irileth tells me you came from the Western Watchtower?
Yes, my lord.
All this
Tell me what
standing
you
around
told
is
me
rubbish.
about the
We should
dragon.
be taking the fight to the Stormcloaks.
Oh, that's right. We saw it coming from the south. It was fast. Faster than anything I've ever seen.
What did it do? Is it attacking the Watchtower?
No, my lord. It was just circling overhead when I left. I never ran so fast in my life. I thought would come after me, for sure.
Good work, son. We'll take it from here. Head down to the barracks for some food and rest. You've earned it. Irileth, you'd better gather some guardsmen and get down there.
I've already ordered my men to muster near the main gate.
Good. Don't fail me. There's no time to stand on ceremony, my friend. I need your help again. I want you to go with Irileth and help her fight this dragon. You survived Helgen, so you have more experience with dragons than anyone else here. But I haven't forgotten the service you did for me in retrieving the dragon stone for Farengar. As a token of my esteem, I have instructed Avenici that you are now permitted to purchase property in the city. And please, accept this gift from my personal armory.
I should come along. I would very much like to see this dragon.
No, I can't afford to risk both of you. I need you here working on ways to defend the city against these dragons.
As you command.
One last thing, Irileth. This isn't a death or glory mission. I need to know what we're dealing with.
Don't worry, my lord. I'm the very soul of caution.
There we go, boys. We're gonna go dragon hunting, our very first dragon, which is gonna give us our very first, I guess, dragon soul. We should probably start explaining how that works, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that have been wondering, how do shouts work? Like, what are they even? How can you pronounce words and have things happen? And it is a very interesting concept, that the whole Dovahkiin language and the shouts and the words of power and all that good stuff. But the thing that I want to talk about first is the fact that as soon as you finish this quest, dragons will start appearing everywhere on the world, assaulting cities, just kind of randomly finding you when you're out on quests. It's something that from now on will start to happen as we complete this quest. So if you want to avoid that, and I guess there's reasons for that, dragons can actually kill non-essential NPCs that can actually give you quests and give you rewards, and yeah, I mean, some NPCs you actually do need for other quests. So it might just be wise to maybe wait a little bit before you do this quest. Like, there's actually a reason to not just straight up go and kill him. Obviously, he might just be too powerful for us. I'm not sure how many hits I'll actually be able to take in. He might just be very, very powerful. So I'm not sure how this is gonna go. But there's gonna be, I guess, a fair amount of walking. It seems like I was in the tower, but you don't actually get to discover it until you get the quest, which is very interesting. But so the way shouts work, there's two different factors to words of power. First of all, is obviously knowing the language. So there's the fact that you have to be able to speak the language itself, but then there is the meaning that comes from the words. So in this universe, the power itself comes from your understanding of the words. The way that I like to imagine it is, imagine if I were to say the name of a guy, say Jason, right? To me, that word is meaningless. It really doesn't incur any type of memories. It doesn't bring any form of emotions. It doesn't mean anything to him, to me, the word Jason. But to a girl who just had a breakup, whose ex-boyfriend was called Jason, that word might mean a lot to her. So much so, in fact, that if I were to mention it, she might just start crying out. Right? Like, and that's the way words work in a very simplified manner. If I say the word foos, just if anyone were to say it, nothing would happen because the word means nothing to them. But if a dragon were to say foos, whenever they say foos, so many emotions and feelings and knowledge of the word come out. And those emotions and feelings are what turns into force, which is what comes out of their mouth, which is the explosion. So it's a very interesting concept. That's why not everyone can do it, and that's what the Greybeards actually spend, just their whole lives studying. What does the word mean? So being Dragonborn is a lot easier for us, since all we have to do is we kill a dragon and we absorb their understanding, an understanding that just comes naturally to them, right? But a normal person would have to spend 20 years trying to understand, what does Yol means? Why is it called fire, you know?
No signs of any dragon right now, but it sure looks like he's been here. I know it looks bad, but we've got to figure out what happened. And if that around somewhere. Spread out and look for survivors. You know what would deal.
Let's go ahead and quick save here because this is going to be in Tensico. So this dragon is called, is it Mirmornir or Milmornir? Not sure how the pronunciation is. But the interesting thing about this guy is that he's one of the few dragons that never actually died in the Dragon War and was never hunted down by the Blades. For whatever reason, maybe he was just very sneaky. He was never found. There's actually records of 4 different dragons that survived the hunt by the Blades, and this happened to be one of them. So, in fact...
It's still here somewhere. Rocky and Thor just got grabbed when they tried to make a run for it.
Guardsman, what happened here? Where's this dragon? Quickly now!
I don't know. Kinnereth, save us. Here he comes again.
Here he comes! Find cover and make every...
Funny enough, he mentions Kinnereth. Kinnereth is the divine that told Parthenax to save humanity from the dragons. So obviously there's some kind of link between Nords and Kinnereth, a very special and deep meaning and bond, which is kind of cool. But in fact, what I was saying before, this dragon is actually, funny enough, one of the oldest dragons in the world. See, most dragons were obviously killed and then later resurrected by Alduin. This one has been alive for centuries, so that technically makes him older than Alduin, plausibly, which I think is the interesting part. Now, I won't be able to necessarily fight him to have a great sword. I don't really have any bows. I don't really... This is gonna be very tricky because he might just straight up one-shot me. So we're gonna have to probably just let them take care of it, maybe get 1 or 2 shots in, which is kind of sad, but this dragon actually does speak every now and again. I don't know if I'll be able to survive this. I do have some potions, but let's go ahead and take some hits in and then just walk around. Oh boy, yeah, this is a mess. He does say some stuff in Dovahkiin, some stuff that we can actually translate. Some of his quotes are, "My overlord will devour your souls in Sovngarde." This is kind of cool. He says, "Fight courageously, good." He says, "Beautiful battle." He seems to be very into the hunt. Very into, I guess, the sport of fighting, which makes sense since his name actually translates to, oh, I would have to look it up, but it translates roughly to something along the lines of the glory of battle, or something along the lines of allegiance to war, something like that. I guess I'll look it up for you guys as soon as we take this guy down. I guess having a healing ability here would come in useful. I don't think I starved or anything like that. I do, actually. I guess I can use it now since I don't really want to spend any potions. This might take a little bit, guys. I'm sorry, but every single one of his bites would probably one-shot me, which is something that we're going to have to deal with on Legendary for a little bit until we get some better armor. I mean, I guess more levels, but, you know, regardless, I guess I can quick save again. See if I can get some hits in. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Need more people to go in here. Now, according to the story, some characters were actually eaten by this dragon. A character named Rocky, which is the only other character named Rocky in this game. There's one in Markarth, but I don't think they're related whatsoever. But there was a character named Rocky and another character named Thor, which is kind of interesting because Rocky sounds very similar to Loki, and Thor, obviously Thor. So maybe it's like some kind of pun that they try to do for, you know, for Thor, I guess. Wait, hold on. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this to favorite, so I don't have to keep on opening this window, and then set my weapons also to favorite. So same thing. There you go. I believe if you set your subtitles in the game, I think what he says is actually directly translated to English. I don't think you actually need to translate anything of what this guy says. But obviously he says the words in Dovahkiin. We're getting there, boys. We're getting there. If we were an orc, we could probably just take him out. Oh my god, there goes another guy. The orc's ability obviously doubles your damage and reduces every bit of damage you take by half, which is fantastic. I actually think it's only physical if I remember correctly, but anyways, a fantastic ability. It's actually way stronger than how it used to be back in Morrowind and Oblivion. In Morrowind and in Oblivion, it used to be that you it would only increase your stats by points. So it would give you like 50 points in strength, 50 points in like endurance. It would give you, I think it was 20 to 25 points of health, and it would drain your agility. So there was actually some kind of drawback to using the ability. You couldn't just use it whenever you wanted to and always have a favorable effect. It's kind of a give and take, I suppose. It would make your character very, very slow. Shit. You guys were commenting that you actually enjoyed the more real style of combat, which wasn't just like me just going around and one-shotting everything. So I guess I appreciate that, because there's gonna be a lot of that, of me just kind of running around, being careful. Yeah, he's looking at me. I'm dead. I'm so fucking dead. Fuck me. Very fortunate to have that rock there. But I'm really happy you guys are enjoying this. I really am. This is my last potion, so I guess I can probably use my venom, but I really shouldn't get closer. Really should not. He just... Yep, he doesn't really prioritize Vandal at all. But back to what I was saying before, and I'm trying to find a bow and get some arrows, maybe get some hits in. But what I was saying before with Hroki, and I don't know how to pronounce that, Hroki, it's kind of a weird pronunciation, but the cool thing is that, so according to the story, he actually gets to kill them. He devours Hroki and Thor, and if you kill him, I mean when you kill him, I'm assuming that everyone kills him at some point or another, but when you kill him, you can actually find the garments of a guard in his stomach as loot, which is kind of cool, because, you know, he ate them, so now he has the guard's armor in his stomach. This is kind of a really cool addition, kind of a very interesting attention to detail, if I can be honest. I really do appreciate that, but we're gonna have to be shooting some arrows here. We're gonna have to be very, very defensive. It's just a nice way for us to actually do some damage without really being in danger at all, which is something that I suggested on the very first episode. If you're trying to do this legendary run, it is my understanding that the easiest way of doing it is probably just going for an archer. Just let your companions do the work, focus on being an archer, maybe even go conjuration to summon more companions, and then just kind of go that route, I suppose. Makes things a hell of a lot easier, especially because arrows do so much damage. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I guess it's over. I should definitely give Vandal a real weapon outside of his bow. There we go, did it, boys.
Let's make sure that overgrown
Sometimes when you kill him, he says, Dova King, no, when he screams around, which is kind of cool. Every time you absorb the soul of a dragon, everyone around you, obviously, in awe, comes at you and exclaims that you're Dragonborn.
Believe it. You're Dragonborn.
Dragonborn? What do you mean?
In the very oldest tales, back from when there were still dragons in Skyrim, the Dragonborn would slay dragons and steal their power. That's what you did, isn't it? Absorb the dragon's power.
I suppose I did.
There's only one way to find out. Try to shout. According to the old legends, only the Dragonborn can shout without training, the way the dragons do.
Dragon? What are you talking about?
That's right. My grandfather used to tell stories about the Dragonborn. Those born with the dragon blood in them. Like old Tiber Septim himself.
I've never heard of Tiber Septim killing any dragons.
There weren't any dragons then, idiot. They're just coming back now for the first time in forever. But the old tales tell of the Dragonborn who could kill dragons and steal their power. You must be one.
What do you say, Irleth? You're being awfully quiet. Come on, Irleth. Tell us, do you believe in this Dragonborn business?
Some of you would be better off keeping quiet than flapping your gums on matters you don't know anything about. Here's a dead dragon, and that's something I definitely understand. Now we know we can kill them. But I don't need some mythical dragonborn. Someone who can put down a dragon is more than enough for me.
You wouldn't understand, Housecar. You ain't a normal.
I've been all across Tamriel. I've seen plenty of things just as outlandish as this. I'd advise you all to trust in the strength of your sword arm over tales and legends.
If you really are Dragonborn, like out of the old tales, you ought to be able to shout. Can you? Have you tried?
That's our cue, boys. If this is an optional side of the quest, you don't have to do it. You could just go into Whiterun and finish this, but we'll do it.
Boost! That was shouting. What you just did. Must be. You really are Dragonborn, then.
That's just like an extra little bit of dialogue, nothing too interesting. So there it is, boys. Let me look up the actual translation of his name, because now I'm curious. So, Mir Molnir translates respectively to Allegiance Strong Hunt. So that's what it means. So whatever he says when he's obviously attacking you, it all has to do with his enjoyment of the hunt and, you know, how he missed it. There's actually a very specific quote where he goes like, "Oh, I forgot how cool it is to hunt you humans," which I think is kind of funny. Anyways, guys, it's gonna be it for this episode. I hope you all are enjoying it. Remember to leave your comments, suggestions, and questions below, and I will be sure to read them and answer them. See you guys next time.